morning, everybody. This is Darren Redmond for Redmond's Wrap-Up from FHT Sports. So how was your Cinco de Mayo? Did you have fun? Do you need some aspirin right now? Do you remember a cup of aspirin, a little bit of water before you went to bed last night? That's if you partake in those kind of things. I hope you had a good time, good friends, good memories. A lot of stuff to cover here on Redmond's Wrap-Up for action on May 5th, 2018. Again, we're not going to talk about the NHL too much today. We're going to leave that to others. I'm sure Serge, the hockey guru, has a lot he wants to say on that matter. But first I want to start with action from the U23 Fresno Foxes. As you know, they used to be the Fresno Fuego. They now roll in under the umbrella of the Fresno FC. And this game was chippy from the start. Of course, FHT Sports was there to cover the action. We had our own Tiffany Graham there, and we had our soccer expert there as well, Mike Hodges. And they were there firsthand to watch what's going on. And we're going to be covering all these teams and to make sure that we see the development. Because remember, people from the U23 team can be called up to the big USL club if needed. So we like monitoring these clubs, and the action is fun to watch. Yesterday was a very, very chippy game against San Francisco, but U23 Fresno came out on top. About 1,500 people there overall, close to 2,000, somewhere in there. They played on the pitch at Fresno State, but the game was a 2-0 victory by U23. Also yesterday, Mike Hodges, our soccer expert, and Tiffany Graham were on hand to watch the FC Fresno ladies. And they defeated Primo de Mayo 6-0. JC Ogden with 4 goals. She just put on a clinic. It was like the match began, and then two balls already found the net. And Nikki Shrey had 1. And high school player Kylie Lucero had a goal as well. So it was just a clean sheet, dominating victory by the FC Fresno ladies. It's an 8-game season. Every game will count tremendously. So you want to make sure that you put your full effort in every match. And so the ladies did well. The U23 team did well. So great job by them both. And we want to then move over to, let's talk a little bit, if we can, about the Fresno State men's baseball team. They had a heartbreaking loss yesterday against Nevada. Went into the 9th inning ahead and 11-10, but we just couldn't make it stand up. Walk-off win in Nevada against our enemies over there. And if you know anything about Fresno State baseball, and I'm sure most of you do, you know that there's a lot of animosity, angst, competitiveness, if you will, against these two teams whenever Reno and Fresno State play. Burks led the charge for the Fresno State Bulldog team, going 4 for 5 on the day, but a walk-off run in the bottom of the 9th gave Nevada the victory, 12-11. Yes, somebody wrote in yesterday, is there really coffee in that cup? What's in that cup? Actually, coffee. Watch. That's how Darren drinks coffee on film. So that's what happened there. Fresno State softball, I covered that game, Darren Redmond. I was there myself watching that game. And, as you know, this is the 37th season in a row that the Fresno State softball team has won over 30 games. They're just overall doing very, very well. But right now, no pun intended, they're in a dogfight for prominent position in the Mountain West standings. Going into yesterday's game in the Mountain West, Fresno State was 13-5, and San Jose State was 14-6. Yesterday did not turn out too well. I had a guest expert with me yesterday, Coach Killa Kaminsky of the WHL. He's the head coach of the WSHL Fresno Monsters. He's with me providing analysis from just an athletic expert opinion. Somebody who played in the NHL at such a high level and for so many years, to be able to bestow upon us and for FHT Sports listeners and readers and those of you who follow us on our social media platform. It was an honor to share the booth with Killa Kaminsky for a couple innings yesterday. But yesterday, The Fresno State Bulldog baseball team, fell behind early. Samantha Mejia let up a couple early runs. She seemed to have her good stuff, but balls were falling in. But what happens? And this happens so many times, right? We see this in softball and the long ball. You could be pitching really, really well, but she gave up 2 home runs, and they really came back to hurt Fresno State as they dropped the game 4-1. So today is the last home game of the season for the Fresno State Bulldog softball team. Game starts at noon, so if you can get out there, it's senior day as well. Let's show the support of a team that has given us some great memories this season with some more work to do as they look to get at the top of the standings in the Mountain West. So that's what happened there. We want to move on to the Fresno Grizzlies. First place, playing dominating baseball right now. You go to Chancey Park right now, watch the Fresno Grizzlies play. You're really watching a solid AAA team. This is a team that you can tell is loaded with talent for the Houston Astro team that won the World Series last year. So if you were at the game last night, you saw Hunter Pence, right? It's so weird when the River Cats come in. Fresno Grizzlies used to be with the Giants and all of those great memories. And Hunter Pence was playing yesterday and he hit a drive. It looked like it was gone. Bye-bye. Over the right field line, over the right field fence. But Kyle Tucker went, no, you know what? No. Let's repeat that. This is not slow motion. This is me just being funny. Kyle Tucker said, no, that's not going to happen. We're not going to do that. Kyle Tucker robbed Hunter Pence of a home run last night. But overall, the River Cats defeated the Grizzlies in a well-played match, well-played game, 5-2. And Kemp now has a 12-game hit streak. McCurry falls to 0-2 on the year. The rubber game of that series, that's 1-1 apiece right now, is today. Get out there, show your support. Love watching the Fresno Grizzlies play, obviously, but when they play the River Cats, it means a little bit more, right? So that's what's going on there. We then want to talk a little bit about the Fresno Foxes last night. And this is a great team. If you haven't watched the Fresno Foxes live, you need to get out to Chancey Park. They'll be there on Wednesday. I'm sure Adam Smith was very frustrated, but at the same time pleased with some things he saw last night against a very tough San Antonio team. On the road against San Antonio, the Fresno Foxes lost 2-1. And in fact, San Antonio moved ahead of them on the table right now into the top 8 on the standings right now. And it was a very unfortunate goal that was the differential. It went in as an own goal, if you watch it, right after Jamal Johnson, who, by the way, right now, not only was he the man in the match, and deservedly so, he just stood out like a man amongst boys. And not taking anything away from anybody else. But Jamal Johnson can score. He is a finisher. In fact, one of the problems right now with the Fresno Foxes, as it appears to me, we talked a little bit about the back line situation. And we saw a little bit of that yesterday. The first goal led up to San Antonio. The defender, the defense, the striker came in, split the defense. It looked like there was not a lot of communication between the people on the back line, and he kind of split the difference and went in for a very tough goal for Renish to handle. But Jamal Johnson came back. And by the way, it was Bruce's first game. Bruce got the first goal, and in the 20th minute, this player can play for San Antonio. In fact, late in the second half, I'd say about the 70th minute or so, he had another shot that, boy, it looked like it was going in. I tweeted about it if you go back. Jamal Johnson ties the game. But then just a very unfortunate goal for the San Antonio team, San Antonio FC. Ball looks like it's going wide. It hits the back post as Renish is making a dive for the ball. And the ball, just like a shot out of a cannon, rebounds off the bar onto Renish's back and goes in for a goal. I've seen interpretations where that's not considered an own goal, but I couldn't argue when they called it an own goal. Very unfortunate. But Adam Smith will tell you, if you asked him, I'm sure, this is just Darren Redmond's opinion, that we need to score. We need some more finishes. We had situations, the Fresno Foxes did time and again, where they were in the 18, and it looked like there was some great saves, but we're missing nets. We need to finish, and that's a problem. We're scoring 1 goal, 2 goals a match, and yeah, you get that a lot of time in soccer. But those times when you need 3 goals, 4 goals, right now, we don't seem to have the propensity. The Foxes do not seem to have the propensity to do that. Let's hope that changes on Wednesday. This is a very talented team. They sit at 2-5 on the very young season. As you probably know, the season goes through October. But this team can do some damage. So, right now they played yesterday without Kafa. And they'll continue to move forward, I'm sure. Tighten up that backline defense. The transition game, midfield, seems very, very strong. We need to finish. But Jamel Johnson had a very wonderful game last night, and as he was the man of the match. Last thing I want to talk about real quick, and I don't mean to go too long, is Marchand and what's going on with Brad Marchand. I'll put my 2 cents in here as the playoffs move along. We tweeted about this yesterday. If your child went to school on Monday and somebody walked up to them and licked them in the face, that child would be suspended immediately. Maybe it's charged with a sexual assault. Now you may say, Darren, these people hit each other. They hit each other with sticks. You're worried about that? Well, there are rules for that kind of behavior. When somebody drops the gloves, and by the way, I sincerely mean this, not like, oh, here's the old guy talking about remember when. Took care of a lot of problems, didn't it, when you dropped the gloves? When you had to worry about taking a punch to the mouth, you didn't have that nonsense going on too much. And if you did, it was in the scope of the game most of the time. Well, there are rules for fighting. You get a 5, you get a 10, you get suspended, 3rd man in, a lot of rules. Not many rules written for licking somebody in the face other than the fact that it's a sexual assault. And not to get thrown out, not to get suspended, but have the NHL say, I know you've done it before, but this time we're serious, don't do it again. Makes a mockery of the league. An absolute mockery of the league. And that's sad because it's a great league. I love hockey. My son plays hockey. Grew up watching hockey. It's in my blood. My favorite hockey game is the next one. It's wonderful. But the NHL, you really, no pun intended, dropping a puck on this one. Because how you let this person continue to, it's happened before. Now, he low hits people. He's a dirty player. I heard the great and wonderful Serge, the hockey guru, talk about rats and chippy players, and one of my favorite of all time, S.A. Tikkanen. Hold on a second. Don't go anywhere. Kids, talk amongst yourselves until I'm back. This is S.A. Tikkanen. Kids, well, this isn't actually S.A. Tikkanen, because if it was, he'd be stuck on a little rectangle of cardboard. This is a picture of S.A. Tikkanen from the 1994 Stanley Cup champion New York Rangers. Linsmen, people like that, they would get under your skin and do some stuff that was kind of shaky at best, but always within the rules or the general rules of the game. Walking up to somebody and assaulting them by licking them in the face, germs, this and that, you don't know where that mouth's been. And I'm sorry, it's a sexual assault. For the NHL to have a cavalier attitude about it is sad. Boston Bruins are a wonderful team. I remember when the New York Rangers in the 70s made a huge trade to get the great Hall of Famer Phil Esposito from the Bruins. They're an original 6 team. I always have a favor on that. They're doing the Boston Bruins no justice by allowing this kind of behavior from Marchand. And so hopefully there'll be justice served by the NHL in terms of looking back on this and maybe fining him or suspending him or whatever the case may be. But really? You're licking people on the face on the ice? Not very good. I was talking to a former NHL player yesterday and who will remain nameless. You tried that with him? No, that would not have gone too well. End of story. NHL, you need to take care of this now. This is not a good thing. Your wonderful sport is being laughed at. And again, anybody who says, well, they allow fighting, that doesn't seem to be a big deal. One, you don't know anything about hockey. You just don't. There are rules for fighting. There's no rules for licking somebody in the face. How are you supposed to handle that? It's a provocation. It's a provocation that, I think a person should get 10 minutes the first time it happens, suspended the second. So that's my thought on it. I'll talk a little bit more hockey along the way as we get closer to the Stanley Cup. That's it. So remember, Serge, the hockey guru, will be posting later. Make sure you watch that. It's always a lot of fun, a lot of interesting facts. FHT, as usual, will be bringing you sports live. We'll be covering all that stuff, commentary. We're building something here that you're a big part of. So please like, subscribe, share our content. Even during the course of the day with our Twitter tweets back and forth. Have some fun. That's what we're here for. We're here for you. This is my first of maybe 6 coffees of the day. Maybe too many. I think maybe not too many. I enjoy it. But everybody have a great day. And remember, you're put on this earth to do great things. You are no accident. Be well. Take care. Don't be afraid to shine.